guys, and welcome to CF Awareness Day 3. I feel like the days are just flying by, and there's a cat. So I guess Ninja's gonna help me out today. And if you hear any strange noises outside, it's thundering. So today's topic is I want to cover some of the more common CF bugs or bacteria that can get in our lungs that are the cause of the frequent lung infections that is classic for CF. These different types of bacteria in quote-unquote normal people don't really have any effect on them, but for people with CF, because of our thicker mucus, they like to make a happy home in our lungs. So the first one and most common one that I'm going to talk about is Pseudomonas aeruginosa, and I do not know that I'm pronouncing the second part of that right. I have Pseudomonas. It is the main culprit in my lungs. Pseudomonas is found in water and soil, and it can also be spread in droplets via the air. Usually exposure to Pseudomonas is pretty much unavoidable. It just depends on if it becomes chronic in your lungs or not. A lot of these bugs are found in the, out in things that like water and stuff, so they don't all, thankfully, end up in your lungs, but you can't really hide from them either. So, Pseudomonas is aerobic, and it can be difficult to treat because it can become chronic, where it starts becoming resistant to antibiotics, and I've had that problem. Currently, I still have a couple, I think about 4 or 5 antibiotics in my arsenal that work against it, but there is a couple that I'm now resistant to, where you can give me the antibiotic, but it's not going to do anything. It's not going to kill the Pseudomonas. So over 30% of children over the age of 5 with CF will have had Pseudomonas at some point in their life, and 80% of people over 18 have it chronic, which means that it's not going anywhere anytime soon, and you can reduce the number of Pseudomonas, but you can't get rid of it completely. So the second one that I want to talk about is Staphylococcus aureus, also known as staph. It's found on the skin and nose of healthy people, and can also be found by droplets in the air. For us, however, staph's like, hey, those lungs look like a really good place to make shop, and it can infect our lungs. It can be spread to CF patients from skin-to-skin contact, touching contaminated surfaces, or just by droplets in the air. It can be mild or it can be severe. Usually if it's just Staphylococcus aureus, it can be pretty mild. I know I had it, but it was pretty easy to treat with just like a pill and an IV antibiotic. But if you have MRSA, which is methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, then it can be harder to treat because this kind of staph has become resistant to multiple antibiotics, and you have to use very specific things to treat it, and it's a lot harder to kind of get rid of. About 30% of all the CF population will have permanent Staphylococcus or staph in their lungs. The next one, I don't have any personal experience with, but I have had a friend, or I have a friend who has experience with it, and that is Burkholder cepacia. This is a pretty newly recognized strain of bacteria or organism. It was recognized in the 1980s, so it hasn't even been that long since we found out about it. It's found in approximately 5% of CF patients, so it's not a super common bug. It's resistant to many antibiotics, which is the problem with it, because there's only a certain types of antibiotics will work against cepacia, so it's a lot harder to treat than some of the other bugs. It rarely causes problems in healthy people, though. It's usually a CF thing. It can be spread, or it's found in everywhere. It's found in soil, it's found in water, it's found in plants. It can survive on skin for 60 minutes. It can survive in a moist environment for a week, and it can survive in water for years. So, again, there's really no avoiding it. Thankfully, it doesn't colonize in a lot of CF patients, but yeah, it's definitely one of the more dangerous bugs out there, simply because of it's hard to treat. And the last one that I want to talk about in this video is Aspergillus, and Aspergillus is actually a mold fungi, and I know that's disgusting. I personally don't have experience with it, but a lot of CF patients do. It's found in soil, plants, vegetables, and decomposing matter like compost. And ironically, Aspergillus particles are just the perfect size to be breathed in by a human nostril. So there's that. It usually doesn't cause problems in healthy people. It can cause problems for people with CF and asthma. And even in CF and asthma, it can colonize, but it doesn't sometimes cause a lot of problems. In about 6 to 25% of people, it can cause a condition known as ABPA, or allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillus, and this can be a severe form of it. It's an allergic reaction resulting in chronic inflammation and airway damage. And so again, kind of like the staph, it can come in a mild form or severe, except with the Aspergillus, it's actually an allergic reaction. So those are just 4 of the main CF bugs. There's no way I could cover them all in one video, but I kind of wanted to give you an idea of some of the more common ones and their qualities, I guess, and the way that they impact how each CF patient is treated depending on what's in their lungs. Now, the way to actually tell what's in a CF patient's lungs is by testing the mucus, either by coughing it up, or they take a little stick and stick it down your throat, and then it's sent off to a lab to grow in cultures, and you see what's growing, and from there you're able to treat it. And they can also test for antibiotic resistance and stuff like that in the lab as well. So it all depends. Every CF patient, even if they have the same bug, it can be treated totally different. It's up to the individual, really, but these are kind of some of the bugs that CFers typically get, or are more common in the community. So I hope I didn't talk your ear off. I hope I didn't bore you with these details or gross you out. But I wanted to kind of give an insight, because I've never really even talked about this before, on some of the more common CF bugs. So that's all I have for today, and thank you guys for watching.